All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the weekly press conference with head football coach Trei Oliver. The Eagles are coming off of a 34-23 victory over number 25 Elon, the third straight win for the Eagles over a nationally ranked team. So congratulations, coach, on the win. Congratulations on win number 500. If you could take us back to Saturday now that you've had a few days to reflect on it.
Yeah, we had opportunity to play a very good Elon team on the road at their place, and Central fans came out and really supported us. It was good to see all of our fans in the stadium. But unfortunately, again, we got off to a slow start. We gave a score early defensively on the first drive, and we were down 10-0 before we knew it. And then I think we finally woke up and ran off 20 straight points on them. But I thought defensively we played much better once we settled down. I thought we did a much better job tackling, and with our run fits this week, we kept them under 100 yards rushing, and then got after the quarterback pretty good. I thought our D-line played exceptionally well. We had 8 sacks, a bunch of tackles for a loss. Offensively, those two guys showed up. They show up every week, Mookie Collier and Davius Richard. But I thought the difference was this week our offensive line played really well. All week we had talked about how good their front seven were. And, we were going to have our hands full. We had to do a great job winning the line of scrimmage. So hats off to Coach Williams and the offensive line. I thought that was the difference of the game. I loved our effort. I thought our guys played hard for 60 minutes. And, we talked about paying attention to detail and being focused. We harp on that middle 8, the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. And the last 4 minutes, we got a big interception and scored. And then coming out after halftime, we got an interception, after halftime and scored again. So it was a 14-point swing right then. And I was very pleased to see that. But I thought the guys were locked in and played well Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Our first question from the media is from Chris Clark. Go ahead, Chris.
Coach Oliver, good to see you again, and congrats on a big win. I wanted to ask you about you kind of hit on it there with the offensive line, the hole that Mookie ran through, for that touchdown. I think I could have fit through there.
That was Mookie running Saturday. I'm on Latrell.
Sorry, gotcha. Mookie to his friends is what I mean. Mr. Collier to everybody else. The hole that he ran through, I think I could have run through that. Was it a point of emphasis? Was there something that you guys had salted the offensive line with? Just what was the emphasis going in? Because they were wide open. You could see it clear as day in the backfield, even when Davius handed the ball to him. Some of those holes. Yeah,
the O-line did a great job blocking it, but I think Davius made a call and with the offensive line and tweaked the blocking assignment, and we hadn't even discussed it, and it was something that he and the offensive line understood, the look that we were getting, and they were locked in, and it was pressure from that side. DeQuan Thomas made a great block and sprung it wide open, and when Mookie gets in space like that, it's hard for people not going to catch him. So it was a great all-around team effort right there, and started with the play call.
Trying to remember the name of the lineman that cleared out the middle, and the one I saw was A.C. McMorrow. Actually, just seemed like he wiped out the whole left side. Was the one I was looking at too. I know a lot of people look at Latrell as kind of a bruiser, head down, getting 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Does that burst of speed surprise you guys, or not at all?
No, he's not a 4.3, 4.4 guy, but he's fast enough. When he gets out, he can hold people off, and that's a testament to our conditioning, and our strength and conditioning coach TC does a good job with those guys. But he has really good speed, and obviously his strength is he's a power runner, downhill guy, and very physical. But when he does get out in the open, he has enough speed to hold people off.
I could follow this up with one last one before I step back here. With the wins piling up and with the attention, how much easier has it been to get guys to call you back now? How's that recruiting going for you? Because I imagine people are, looking at Central now a little bit differently than they did maybe 3 weeks ago.
We have a couple commitments. We have a couple coaches on the road today, and then we'll have the rest of our staff will be out towards the end of this week on the road, and it doesn't stop. It does not stop. So we understand how important recruiting is, and that's what's gotten us to this point. Recruiting great high school young men. And you talked about AC Moore; he's a true freshman. So we got a bunch of young guys on this team, and that's the plan: is to go out here and stockpile with some more guys, hopefully from within the state.
Our next question is from Caleb Veal. Go ahead, Caleb.
Hey, Coach. After the game, Davius touched on how the biggest thing coming into this game was the front seven of Elon, and then you kind of touched on the few freshmen that are starting there on the O-line. I just want to know, what are you seeing from this O-line that makes this unit gel so perfectly?
They're a close-knit group. The chemistry within the O-line, that position right there is 5 of them on the field at a time. And they all have to be on the same page as far as their calls in pass pro and in run blocking. 4 of them can be right and 1 guy be wrong, and the whole play will fall apart. So a lot of people take it for granted, but I tell them that's where it starts. If we win up front, we're gonna have opportunity to win games. As they go, we go, and we've had some great play from the offensive line. I still would like to see improvement. As a head coach, you're never happy, you're never pleased. So we can always get better, but they've come a long way, and we're still really, really young up front.
And with that young O-line, where do you think they can improve?
Just across the board, I would like to see them be more consistent. They're great again. I see their effort improving. But if you have 1 or 2 missed assignments here and there, we got to get that cleaned up. And I want them to be perfect. That's what we're aiming for, to be perfect. But I know that's not obtainable for you to play 75 plays and not make a mistake. But we just have to. I stressed all last week, we must limit mistakes, and that's what good teams do. You don't beat yourselves. If somebody's going to beat you, let them be better than you. And we thought we had a really good football team going into this game, and as long as we limited the mistakes as a team, we knew we were going to be just fine.
Coach, we talked about the offensive line. You talked about the defensive front. Again, those 14 tackles for loss and 8 sacks were the most by the Eagles since 2019. And you were also able to hold their leading rusher, who was tops in the CAA, to just 13 yards on the ground. What was going so well for the defense?
He's outstanding. And he reminds me a whole lot of, our running back, Latrell. And we knew we were going to get Hass to the ball. We stressed that. Coach Court stressed that about getting Hass to the ball, And our effort level, I hadn't seen our guys play that hard defensively in a while. So hats off to them. I was just, very, very pleased with that. And the tackles for loss, it seemed like they felt they smelled blood in the water or something, because they kept turning it up and played better throughout the game as the game went. And I saw Trey Milton giving it all he had, and just all those guys up front played really hard. And I think they were feeding off of each other's energy.
We have a question from Byron Paris. Go ahead, Brian.
I want to talk to you before the game, before you guys took the field. I was standing in front, and what I saw on your face and the players' face was nothing but focus. What did you tell your players to have them just get into the mindset of nothing besides this game matters?
That's all it was. It's game day, and we have an opportunity to play a game. We have an opportunity to play a top 25 team from another conference, a very good CAA conference. And, we have an opportunity to show people how good we are. And, let's not waste this moment. And the guys had a chip on their shoulder and wanted to show everybody how good we were. And, people want to talk about this and talk about that and what we are not. Let's put the ball down and play, and let's see. And like I said, it was an opportunity for us to play another ranked team and let folks know we are good. We're a very good football team.
We have another question from Chris Clark. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the next 5 games here. I had a coach tell me one time they don't give out championship rings for non-conference championships there. Is there any more pressure coming in now that you haven't played a conference game, despite with all the success you've had now, because it's kind of like a new season, kind of resetting here? Or have you prepped these guys so well with that non-conference schedule that this is just, going to steamroll the rest?
I think that pressure only comes when your expectations outweigh your preparation. When you're not prepared, but you have these lofty goals, I think that's when the pressure comes. So we don't feel any pressure. it's one game at a time. We talk about it. It's Morgan this week, and we're not next week, and we're not looking any further than that. But no, it's all about a championship. We don't get a ring for being whatever we are right now and beating these CAA teams. So we've got to win one game at a time, take it one game at a time, because in our conference, if you lose one, you could be out the title talk. So we're only focused on Morgan, and we have a very mature group, and our coaches do a great job with keeping these guys in the moment and staying focused. So we don't talk about winning championships around here. We just talk about us getting better this week.
Ollie, do you feel like with that non-conference schedule that you've given them enough looks at different types of teams and different types of play and different ways to go about answering questions to get them prepared for what they're going to see in the MEAC here?
We've been tested. We've seen from, really good ranked CAA teams to a very good, in-state rivalries. And we've seen it all. We've played in the Classic up in Circle City. And, we went out to play against UCLA and got thumped against them. But that was a learning experience for us. We're battle tested. We've seen a lot of different fronts, a lot of different pressures offensively. Defensively, we've seen all sorts of motion and unbalance and really everything you could possibly see. So it's going to be all about North Carolina Central cannot beat North Carolina Central. Eagles can't beat Eagles.
Our next question is from Lawrence Davis. Go ahead, Lawrence.
Hey, what's up, Coach? How are you doing today?
I'm well. How you doing?
I'm good. I've just seen a lot of production from guys like Joaquin and Flip coming from that wide receiver room. Kind of talk about how you've seen the wide receivers, some of the younger wide receivers flourish, and it's especially Joaquin and Flip. How have you seen them kind of grow this season?
Well, the guys have to understand it can't be a Latrell Collier and a Davis Richard show. It can't be that. It's got to be. We stress role players must play their role. Andrew Smith was down. He hasn't played in a couple of weeks. So, we got guys that are banged up. So other guys must step up. Devin Smith is a go-to guy. But, that whole room is talented. There's a whole lot of guys in there that can make plays. But it was great to see Flip make some plays this week. And he has a couple of huge story down catches. Of course, Quentin McCall's the guy that we rely on heavily. And then Joaquin Davis. So, we have some talented receivers here, and guys are really just playing their role. And when their number's called, they show up.
Gotcha. And then just kind of go a little bit more into detail about your bye week plans. Is it going to be a little bit more of getting after it and hammering the fundamentals, or is it going to be more of a relaxed week where you're going to focus more on getting healthy moving into the second half of the season?
Well, that's a great question. It's a lot of stuff going into this week. We're trying to get healthy. We have to develop and get our 2s and 3s ready to play. It's going to be a long season, and we can't let one person get banged up and then our production, go. Like, for example, when Davius got hurt and Walker had to come in against Mississippi Valley and he threw for 5 touchdowns. That's what I expect. I expect, for us to play at a certain level, and I don't care who's out there. If it's our 2s or 3s or our 4s, I expect for us to play a certain level. But we'll practice today and tomorrow. We're really focused on academics this week, making sure that we're caught up there. We have a couple community service projects set up, and coaches will be on the road recruiting. So a lot of stuff going on to answer your question.
I got you. And then kind of talk a little bit about how you felt about special teams this first half of the season. Some of their highlights and how do you improve in that aspect of the game moving forward, where you can have reliable special teams where it's no shank punts or stuff like that. Like how do you or missed assignments on kickoff? How do you improve that moving forward?
Yeah, I thought Elon had I thought their special teams was very good. They were very sound. And that was a place that we had talked about all week, where we had to be sound in the kicking game. I thought schematically and as far as execution of the guys' assignments, I thought they did a great job with that, with communicating and seeing different looks. I was not pleased with the kickers this week, and that's my responsibility. I work with the kickers day to day, and we shaped a couple of punts, which is not like Juan. Juan's a great punter, but we kind of got out of character with our punting this week, and then we missed the extra point. And Adrian's one of the best kickers in the conference, I think, in FCS, but you can't miss a extra point. Points are a premium. And, it's a snap, hold, and kick. So all 3 phases are very important with that. we got to get better in our kicking game, and I got to do a better job of getting these guys coached up and preparing them for the week. But all three phases have got to be clicking for you to beat good teams. Offense, defense, and the kicking game. Luckily, our offense and defense play such a high level that they kind of made up for our poor kicking game this week.
Coach, can you talk about the opportunity to play in back-to-back games on national TV on Thursday night, where a lot of eyes are going to be watching North Carolina Central?
Right, and we are looking forward to playing on the national stage, and that's a big recruiting tool that we use here. You have an opportunity not to just play in classics, when you come to North Carolina Central and play in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, but then you also get so many TV televised games. So it's good for us to be able to put our brand, our great institution, as well as our great football program on display on the national stage Thursday night against Morgan State. And then the next week our opponent will be South Carolina State. So two really good teams that we'll be facing, and we'll have to be prepared to play. But our guys are extremely excited, and our fans that can't make it and then across the country, will have an opportunity to see us as well.
Our next question is from Benita Best. Go ahead, Benita.
The MEAC can still get an at-large bid to the NCAA playoffs. Has the Celebration Bowl become so popular, so the place people want to be, that teams don't even think about the possibility you can still get an at-large playoff bid anymore?
Well, obviously our goal is to play in the Celebration Bowl. That is an unbelievable experience. Obviously it's a huge paycheck for the university, and usually when you play in the playoffs, you end up losing money. But that's another opportunity for you to play on a national stage against, obviously the SWAC conference. So for us to be considered a Black college national champion like we were last year, to me, that's bigger than going to the playoffs. We'd be excited to have the opportunity to make it to the playoffs if we did. If we did not win our conference. But, our goal is to go to Atlanta to play in the Celebration Bowl.
Coach, coming up next, you have offensive lineman Torricelli Simpkins. Can you talk about what he's meant to the program?
My guy, Torricelli, he's been starting since he got on campus. And great young man, great family. He's the vocal leader and of the offensive line. He's one that I think is a great teammate. A lot of guys really lean on him, and great person. And all the 32 teams have come in here, have looked at him as far as NFL opportunity in the future. So I'm so happy that he's on our team and a part of our program. Great student. When we talk about being a student athlete, I think about a 3.5, 3.6 GPA. Well-rounded individual, and pretty good football player too. If y'all seen him play, pretty good.
Torricelli, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank y'all for having me.
If you could take us back to Saturday and the big win against Elon.
I'll take you back. Everything just went how the coaches planned it to go. They brought up a great game plan. They told us exactly what we needed to do. They coached us up, had a great week of practice. We started a little slow, but it was just one thing that was slowing us down. It's like one thing kept happening. And then after them first two drives, we got in the rhythm. Coach Leone always preaches start fast. And to start fast is to get your offense in a rhythm. So, and that's what we started doing after them first two drives. We started going. Everybody started locking in, started having more focus, communicating better, and everything went how we wanted it to go.
Great, thank you. And our first question from the media is from Chris Clark. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Chris Clark here. Congratulations on not just the win, but the season and the run you guys have been having up to this point. I wanted to ask you about your group in particular. How much of a point of pride is it to keep Davius and whoever's back there under center off the ground, as well as to open up holes for Latrell the way you guys have been doing, especially the last couple of weeks?
It's an honor. We're glad to block for those guys. We love those guys to death. We don't want nobody back there harassing our guys and beating up on our guys. So we got to beat up on them up front. We got to do our job. It's our job to keep them up, protect them as best as our God let us do. The ability to do that and just to do it with each other. Like, those my guys up front. Those my brothers. So, like, when I go to war, I know the people that I'm right beside, I know I can fight for them because they're gonna fight for me.
I hit on and led into my next question there. It seems obviously the more you play, the more snaps you get. It's been a pretty healthy unit up to this point, but how has it been coming together, playing like five fingers in a glove? Because the unit, it's crazy to watch you guys move as one up there. It's almost like you're in each other's heads, knowing without having to say what you're going to do, just doing it by feel and vibe.
So those front five that I got up there beside me, Daquan Thomas at right tackle, me at right guard. You got Brian Hardy, center, left guard, AC McMorrow, and left tackle, Trey Humphrey. Those guys, they listen, they love communication. And when you got all of that, plus effort, it all come together and we all fight as one unit. And it ain't no guys up front with me that can't take authority. Like, they all know how to listen, be coachable, and put it all on film.
Finally here, is it something we can get award-wise for you all? I mean, give out little bottles of syrup or something, because you don't get hardly any recognition each week. I mean, can we come up with some kind of a pancake award for you? Is there an NIL deal that we could work with there? Something. Come on now.
Hey, I wish we did have something like that, but we don't get stats like that. We keep our stats in between ourselves. You know, that's all we can do.
The next question is from Caleb Veal. Go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, Torricelli, this week you guys were able to dominate in the run game and pass protection as well. But from week 1 to this bye week, what has been this group's biggest jump that you think that has created the unit that we are seeing now in the final product of this great cohesive group together?
I say our biggest jump. I probably say our biggest jump was how physical we play and the amount of communication we have up front. Sometimes we know, like, we just look at each other. We know that we got to go out there. We got to us three for those three, and they're young guys. So it's like, it ain't even like I'm playing with young guys at some points in time. Cause it's like they got a lot of experience now. So the weeks progressing has gave them so much experience and have gotten them so much better. Because at the beginning of the season, they thought we were going to be the weak link of the offense this year because we lost so many guys from last year. And I don't really see no drop-off. I like the five we got up front. And I love my O-line because we play at a high standard. We're kept to a high standard, and that's how we have to play.
Thank you. We have a question from Lawrence Davis. Go ahead, Lawrence.
That group up front, no matter who you put in, I feel like that whole room is a group of competitors, a group of dogs. You know what I mean? So, like, where does that fight come from the group? And then personally for you, where does that dog mentality come from? Like, why do you love to compete so much?
That's just my nature. I'm a competitor. I love competition, and I lead the guys up front. Me and DQ, we both love competition. So, like I said, our guys are young. What they see, that's what they going to show. So whatever they see, and they see us competing, they gonna want us compete harder. And I know my guys love playing the game, and they love O-line. So just competing every day with the defense, like even today, they had so much energy today. It's a bye week. People, I don't really want to practice today. Nah, O-line, we ready. Like we going. Like I hope defense ready because we coming. Like that's how we show them. Like it's gonna be practice today. We gonna practice. We gonna get each other better. It's not we just practicing and then we just turn on the game. Now it started at the beginning of the week. We got to practice hard from start to finish.
And I know being one of the leaders of the offensive line, it's a lot of communication. It's a lot of things you got to know. It's a lot of different techniques you gotta understand. How do you help the younger guys, keep things simple when there's a lot of pressure on the line?
I help them keep it simple by overly communicating. Like even if they don't know it right then, right there, I'm communicating. Like I'm making sure I'm looking at them and I'm good, we good. Like even if I got to tell them exactly who they got to go to, I just make sure I'm communicating and I'm showing them how to do it. Like in practice, we harping on it. You got to do this. You got to make sure you take this type of footwork. You got to make sure you get around that block that certain way. It's like we don't just how can I say this? We don't just stay and yell at each other all day. That's not going to help nobody. It's just going to create conflicts. We all talk to each other in a respectful manner, but at the same time, we all make sure that we know what we got to do.
Next question from Byron Paris. Go ahead, Byron.
You talked about in practice going up against that defense. I want to know what experience you get from going up against that defense. Is it helpful? Is it frustrating? What do you get, or what do you and the offensive lineman get out of it?
We get great work, especially during good on good. Jaden Taylor, Quantez Manfield, Harford Kaba, Christian Smith, all four of them, they bring it every day, and they make sure that we bringing it every day. Like, we gonna bring it. They know that, so they already know as soon as they line up, they gotta be ready to practice. It ain't no plays off. If you're taking plays off in practice, you're gonna do it in the game. You are who you are at practice, same as you are in the game.
I guess I should have asked, what does the defense get going up against y'all?
Oh, they get better. They get
better. Yes.
They be physical because we physical with them.
Torricelli, can you talk about your journey to NCCU and just how your career has been going here and what's your experience been like at NCCU?
On my visit, I didn't really know too much about Central, but it felt like home. Like, it felt like I needed to be here when I came here on my visit. The guys that hosted me, they brought me in, made me feel like family. And when I committed, I wasn't even committed yet, and they still treat me the same. And when I got here after my commit, they still was treating me the exact same. It was like I was already accepted into their family. And just going throughout the years, like, you make so many friendships and brotherhoods. I'm always with my old line, but it's some defensive guys that's with us all the time, like Jaden Taylor, Jakai Brevard. Those my brothers. Like, I love them boys. Going through the seasons with them, fighting with them every day, playing on that field out there, competing. Like, you gotta love it in order to go do that every year, every day, in and out, 24/7.